All right, time for an update now on day 3 of the second round of the Cricket West Indies 4-day championship, where Trinidad and Tobago Red Force was the first team to register a victory for this round, beating Windward Islands Volcanoes in their pink ball encounter at Arnesvale by an innings and 176 runs. The win was triggered by Carey Pierre's 8 for 27 to finish with 12 wickets in the match. Well, what a start to the season for him, as the Volcanoes were bundled out for 114 in 35.4 overs in reply to the Red Force's first innings, 456. Scores in that match: Windward Islands Volcanoes 166 and 114. The TNT Red Force 456. Meanwhile, captain Tevin Imlach scored his 4th first-class century as defending champions Guyana Harpy Eagles fought their way into a promising position against combined campuses and colleges at Providence. In the other matches, Leeward Islands Hurricanes closed on 44 for 1. They're 112 runs away from victory against Jamaica Scorpions at the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium in Antigua and Barbuda. Having taken a 15-run first innings advantage, the Hurricanes blew out the Scorpions for 170 in their second innings, with Shane Thomas and captain Rakeem Cornwall taking 3 wickets each. John Campbell top scored with 52, his third 50-plus performance in as many innings. Score so far: Scorpions 320 and 170, Hurricanes 335 and 44 for 1. And the West Indies Academy are in danger of an innings defeat to Barbados Pride in their ongoing day-night encounter, this at Kensington Oval. Now, after Barbados Pride made 581 for 9 declared, they dismissed the West Indies Academy for 239, batting a second time following on. The West Indies Academy are 133 for 5 at this stage. They require another 209 runs to make the Pride bat again. Teddy Bishop has so far led with 58 in the second innings. 57 is what he made in the first innings, and the top scorer was Rivaldo Clark, who got 78 in the first innings for the West Indies Academy. But they are struggling badly and staring at defeat, a match that realistically could finish on this third evening at Kensington Oval. A very good performance by Shaim Holder, career best figures of 6 for 70 for the 30-year-old, and yeah, pretty good performance there from Shaim Holder for the Barbados Pride. Career best figures of 6 for 70 in that contest. So, Lance and Mariah, that is what is going on around the CWI 4-day championship. The Trinidad and Tobago Red Force getting a win. It was good to see Jason Mohammed, 38 years old, but back-to-back centuries, 176 in round 1, and got another century here in round 2.
Yeah, well, very impressive stuff from him. And as you mentioned, his age, Ricardo, he has been around the setup for quite some time. Did he captain at one point as well, right?
Yes.
So he's bringing that expertise. But what's impressive is the fact that he continues to, produce runs, another century under his belt. And it's something that, all of the younger players can have that conversation with him, learn, get a bit of advice and whatnot. And when we interviewed Joshua De Silva on this show, he did mention Jason Mohammed, saying that, he's one of the players that, he talked to about certain things when it comes to, being captain and all of that. Another player that really impressed me today and continues to, Carey Pierre. What about that wicket-taking capability? Good stuff from him. Carey Pierre is a player that, he really has caught on with his craft. During the CPL, one of the star bowlers for TKR, and now watching him do it again, Lance, is just bringing back a lot of memories.
Well, not only that, but we were saying some time ago on the show that if you are a West Indies cricketer right now, you wouldn't want to be a left-arm spinner, because there are so many good ones around the place. Carey Pierre, Akil Hussain, Gudakesh Moti, Jamel Warrikan, Veerasamy Permal.
The list goes on.
So it's very tough. But I'm happy to see Trinidad and Tobago starting off so well. We've spoken since the start of the season about the dearth of title successes they've had with the red ball, none since 2005. Good to see Cephas Cooper getting 100 as well, as Jason Mohammed, remember him playing the Under-19 World Cup in 2018. So good on them. Good also that Teddy Bishop got some runs today the Grenadian on his country's Independence Day.
Yeah, 57 and 58, 2 half centuries, and the 57 was not out. But I tell you what, Pierre, I think, is in the wrong business, as you pointed out, Lance, because whereas you look at the setup, when you look at someone like a John Campbell, who has started the season very well for the Jamaica Scorpions, and you go, there is a possibility he could get into the West Indies team, you're looking and you're looking and you're like, boy, Pierre, you're performing so well, but I just don't see how. I don't see them picking you ahead of Gudakesh Moti. I don't see them picking you ahead of Jamel Warkan in the test setup. I don't see them picking you ahead of Akil Hussain
in the white ball
setup. Maybe he can be squeezed into the 50-over team if he continues to perform at this level. But clearly he's going very, very well to start the season. And to John Campbell now, a half century in the one time he batted in round 1, a century, and then 52 in the second game against the Leeward Islands Hurricanes. Very disappointed when he got out today, pulled one ferociously and was well taken at a square leg. But it's a great story in one sense, because there are those who feel that given the circumstances around his whereabouts suspension, it never should have happened in the first place. But he's gone away, he's spent his time, he's returned to domestic cricket, and he's making a fantastic start. Not quite at the level that someone like Marlon Samuels produced when he returned to 4-day cricket some time ago after his ban for a different situation, but it's a very, very good start in a position that there is a spot open in the West Indies team. And when you consider that for this match, Mikhail Louis played in the same game, and Mikhail Louis didn't quite set the place alight. So John Campbell is looking pretty good right now.
Yeah, pretty good. And one of the things I notice is players that go through certain suspensions, they tend to come back out with something to prove, and they tend to do it with, bat and ball. And I think that's exactly how John Campbell is answering. One of the players we have to talk about, though, our double century, Craig Brathwaite getting that job done, and of course Jonathan Drakes with a century. So Barbados also looking pretty strong.
Yeah, Brathwaite has always had a big appetite for runs. I don't think there is any cricketer in the Caribbean at the moment who has scored more hundreds than he has. When I say hundreds, I mean hundreds at all levels. Because he started scoring hundreds from he was 12, 13 years old playing schools cricket in Barbados, and he has now scored more than 100 centuries in his overall career, both as a youth player and as a senior player. Did go through a rough patch. He was struggling for runs for the West Indies Test team for a while. But we know that he's a very disciplined player who applies himself. A lot of people don't find his batting style attractive because he's not a very fluid player. But I have always liked the fact that he puts a high price on his wicket. So the fact is, although he may not be exciting the fans with shots all over the place, although we saw some evidence that he can do it when he puts his mind to it, I think that West Indies batting has struggled so much in the past decades that I will hesitate to criticize a batsman who is scoring 20 off 80 balls because he doesn't want to lose his wicket. And I know that's a contentious issue because I've argued about it a lot with different people, but I think West Indies cricket batting has been so poor for so long that when a batsman is trying his best to not lose his wicket, it's hard for me to criticize him. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I say this, right? With batting, partnerships are very important.
Yes.
And part of the problem for the West Indies, in my estimation, for quite a while, and of course there are many, many problems, is that I find because of the opening partnerships that we've had, the Caribbean men are always on the back foot from ball 1, and there is no player at the top of the order to put the opposing team under pressure, to disturb the lines and lengths that they are delivering. Because generally you have two batsmen who are going out there and trying to survive. And in my opinion, and I hear you, Lance, relating to Craig Brathwaite, but the issue with that is when you bat like that, you will survive and score a lot of runs, like, for example, this double century, when the depth of the bowling isn't of the highest quality. So you will have periods of reprieve where you can play that sort of game. When you're playing at the highest level, where you have quality bowler after quality bowler after quality bowler, they are going to work you out over time. And even if you make a half century, but it is done of 150 deliveries or close to 200 deliveries, it does not hurt the opposition. And that's always been my issue with Craig Brathwaite. In my opinion, Craig Brathwaite has actually been at his best when he's played more aggressive cricket. And that's why I was so happy to see the way he played in Pakistan. And I've seen him do that before, especially when he's gone to Asia. His ability or his willingness to come down the pitch and take on the spinners, hit them over mid-wicket. I made a joke before the start of the Pakistan tour that if we saw Craig Brathwaite come down the wicket and hit the ball to deep mid-wicket and he gets caught, that we should not be critical of him, because that's a shot. I think he plays very well when he's batting well, when the mentality is there for him to take on the bowling. At this level, Lance and Mariah, against quality bowling, you're not going to survive, to use a Caribbean term, joking around.
Yeah.
I understand the point you're making. I still think, though, that sometimes West Indies batsmen lose their wickets too recklessly and carelessly. And Brathwaite is never usually one to do that.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Joking can be careless sometimes.
All right, you know what? I'm going to take a break with that one, and we'll be right back.